crime fighters. My name is Allison Beck, and I am the host of InTouch. And today on InTouch, Officer Dawn and Ray the DA discuss the laws that are being proposed by the legislature right now, such as the legalization of marijuana and whether or not the death penalty might be abolished. Tune in next time, crime fighters. This is InTouch.
I'm Officer Don with Fayette Commonwealth's Attorney Ray Larson. What we got, Ray?
Well, the band. The legislature's in session in Frankfurt, and we always are a little bit fearful because we don't know what's going to happen, especially since the passage of House Bill 463. But I keep up with these things now pretty carefully. And there are some interesting laws being proposed, the first of which relates to booking photographs.
Okay, these are the photographs that the jail takes of people who are arrested for crimes.
Right.
Public record. You can go on the jail's website and look at sex offenders or people that have been arrested and charged with crimes like that, or people arrested for murder, rape. You can actually get a look at this person who's been accused of this crime to know what to look out for. You can do that right now by going on the jail's website, correct?
Right.
Okay.
One of the and the media, meaning the showbiz people that you work for out at Channel 27, WKYT, will always go to the jail website when they talk about a story of somebody being arrested or somebody, because it's a visual business. Now here's what it says. It prohibits a person from using a booking photograph, mugshot, for commercial purpose. Is the TV station in business to make money? Yes. Yeah. And so that's a commercial purpose. If the photograph will be posted in a publication is either the newspaper or the TV, right? Okay. Or a website like LexingtonProsecutor.com. And if you look at my website, we have the sentencings. Now, we don't put them on when they're arrested on our website, but what we do is we put them on after the person has been through the court process. And so I'm not sure what the plan is, but it sounds to me like the criminal lobby is alive and well over in Frankfurt because they don't want the pictures of their clients put on TV or in the newspaper. Now I can't imagine that the newspaper and the TV stations won't come squealing right out of the woodwork on this thing, claiming it's a some sort of First Amendment right to free press kind of thing. The guy that proposed this is a Democrat representative from Paducah.
Well, the issue is everything that the police do and everything that prosecutors do, everything the government does is public record. It's open to the public right now. That's how it's set up in our society. So if you arrest someone, there's nothing hidden about that. You don't really want the police arresting people, nobody knowing who was arrested. I mean, you don't really want that, do you? I mean,
that's how they do lineups, photographic lineups.
I mean, we would put do we have to use 6? I don't remember. Is it
six?
Six. To do a photographic lineup, you have to take. Let's say that Ray's been accused of a crime, right? Well, Ray is about 5'11", right?
No, 6'4".
That's 6'4". I've got a full head of hair.
Right.
It would not be fair for me to do a lineup if Ray's the one that we think committed the crime, and put 5'2" bald guys in the lineup with him and say, is this the guy that robbed you? So we actually have to go to the jail's website. Police officers do, and pick photos that are fairly similar, and then see if the person can pick the individual out, right?
So that's where the booking photos come in.
Yeah.
Now, Allison, do I sense that Officer Don is kind of making fun of me?
No,
not at all.
No, I'm just talking about lineups.
Sounds to me like he is.
No.
So at any rate, we'll keep an eye on that one.
Yeah.
And I'll guarantee you that the TV stations and the newspaper need to pay attention to that.
You know, the other thing, all kidding aside, is there's probably more than one Don Evans in this town. And if I'm not the one arrested, but it's going to be announced, I would probably prefer you to show the picture of the other Don Evans.
Yeah, well, that's
that is an issue.
Well, but you assume that people know what you look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just want them to know what I don't look like.
Yeah. Okay. We got another one here that. This one is they want to amend the Kentucky Constitution to allow the people convicted of crimes to be able to automatically have their right to vote restored, with a couple of exceptions. Treason, people convicted of treason, right? Intentional killing, a sex crime, or bribery. Everybody else automatically would get their right to vote under this proposal by Gerald Neal, Walter Blevins, D. Harper Angel, Representative McGarvey, Senator Rhodes, Reginald Thomas, and Robin Webb, all Democrats. Now, here's the deal. If this guy that ran over and killed Brian Durman,
A police officer that was killed.
a couple of years ago, Glenn Donahue, was convicted of manslaughter in the first degree. That is not, by definition, an intentional killing. So he gets the right to vote after he clearly takes the right of Brian Durman's to vote away by killing him. Wrong. That just doesn't get it. But
Well, the other side of this is people who have felonies on their record, they can get their voting rights restored.
They can now.
Right now. I mean, and it happens all the time. Right. What it boils down to is they have to put forth the effort to get it done. I mean, that's if you petition to have it done, and there are certain crimes that they may not do it for. They've restored Ron Barron's voting rights.
Well,
you know,
boy, that was
did
a
they not?
stinker.
I mean,
Yeah,
Ron
the
Barron
governor did, but Bashir did.
Was convicted of crimes related to molesting boys.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? Well,
Sure.
I'm accurate. Here in Lexington, and ultimately the governor restored his voting rights.
Over the objection of the local Commonwealth attorney.
Yeah. So my point is, it can happen. You know, and it does happen. So if someone wants, I once had a guy that worked for me that he had his voting rights restored. He had a felony 20 years ago, and I made the decision to hire him for a little project, a little job a little business I was doing, and great employee, great guy, But it's nice to know, though, at least if someone has that in their background, at least the employers can take that into consideration.
Okay, we got another one we want to be keeping our eye on. Gerald Neal, who is, I don't know if he still defends criminals, but he has in the past, is filed a proposed law that would abolish the death penalty. So, and that happens every year. What he wants to do is take the jury's right to make that decision away. I, of course, disagree with that. Hope that one doesn't have any chance. Boy, we got a lot of interest in heroin. And there's a bill that's going to... See, House Bill 463 kind of watered down the penalties on drug crimes. Now all of a sudden they say, oops, heroin has become a big issue. We're going to have to kick ass and take names on that now. And so they've increased the penalty for that to, under this proposal, to 50%. You serve 50% of your time if you're convicted of trafficking.
Specifically with heroin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's trafficking only. It's not being in possession.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Then we have this medical marijuana proposal. The idea is a comprehensive system for medical cannabis. They're calling it medical cannabis. Why would they call it medical cannabis instead of marijuana?
They just need to rebrand it a little bit.
Yeah. It sounds a little more official, sounds a little more medical. That would provide for medical verification of need, that persons would be allowed to cultivate, use, and possess the drug. Why don't they just get a pill?
I've asked doctors that who don't really have a dog in the fight, and they tell me that there are plenty of drugs that do the same thing that marijuana does to relieve the nausea, and actually a better job, much more effective, much more efficient. That's the reason that doctors think it's a joke. They're like, we have options for people. Marijuana doesn't need to be in the mix. The adverse effects of that. They don't talk a lot of they don't talk a lot about the secondhand smoke when they deal with marijuana like they do cigarettes. They push cigarettes way out to the back alleys, but they seem to be bringing marijuana back in, which is interesting. And I wanted to get your comments on this when I heard it last week. The President of the United States has weighed in on his views on marijuana. And when he was asked if marijuana is less dangerous than alcohol, he said that, in his opinion, this is a quote, "In terms of its impact on the individual consumer, it's not something I encourage, and I've told my daughters I think it's a bad idea, a waste of time, not very healthy. What clearly troubles him is the radically disproportionate arrest and incarceration for marijuana among minorities." But prior to that comment, he called pot smoking, he said he did it when he was young, and he called it a bad habit and a vice, not very different from cigarettes that he smoked as a young person up through a big chunk of his adult life. He thinks it's not any more dangerous than alcohol. He says, I don't think marijuana is any more dangerous than alcohol. That was what the President had to say about it. What say you to that? I mean,
well, I agree with his drug czar, the drug czar that he appointed, that said that the President's wrong on that.
How did he say he's wrong on that? How do you do that, I wonder?
Well, he did it.
Really?
Yeah, he says, whoa, I disagree. Now, I don't know how long he'll be in his position, but I'll tell you, what is wrong with this
situation?
Yeah, that. Look, whether you like this president or not, and I don't respect him, and because of he put in the position of Attorney General a guy that I think is a joke, Eric Holder.
You said this as a prosecutor. That's where, from your perspective as a prosecutor.
Well, from law enforcement,
yes.
This guy is at any rate.
Well,
look, the President of the United States is somebody that a lot of people pay attention to. And when he says something like that, what he has done is undercut the very efforts people are making to deal with illegal drugs. And this legalization of cannabis, as we say in this thing, is basically the first step in trying to legalize marijuana. And there you go. Now, what they don't look at is the damage this caused to the developing brain of young people. And to say, hey, it's not a problem. No more of a problem than alcohol and smoking cigarettes. Well, that's just baloney. And shame on him is what I say.
I thought you might have something to say.
Oh, I just think
it is interesting. And I was telling my daughter this. When we were growing up, it was just say no. The government's campaign was against illegal drugs. It was against mind-altering drugs. 100% just say no.
Nancy Reagan started.
Now that's flipped. It's a different world today. I mean, the government's sort of a little more mushy on that. Let's say,
They're not even close to mushy.
So in the sentencing, the way they're handling, dealing with it, and then of course the gateway drug that a lot of people consider gateway drug marijuana now appears to be on its way in by what we're seeing. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, buddy, and I'll tell you that when you deal with young people, what's the thing you think about is these guys sitting in front of the TV eating Doritos, nodding, saying, "Oh."
Hey, listen, the Doritos are great. Okay.
Yeah, they must advertise for you.
We'll see you next week on InTouch.